the thing about these playoffs is that second round into them. I think that's where we could see drivers fall off and have their collapse. Even guys like William Byron or Truex who are sitting pretty.
And they're both 36.
Yeah.
They have 36 extra playoff points. If you look at, the stats, they're technically 29 points above the cut line.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think Doug Rice did this explanation, very well the other day on Fast Talk. He said that's like overdraft coverage where, like you run out of money and you charge something on your debit card, the bank gives you a little bit of extra, funds to pay for it, and you don't get penalized.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what they have. So they could, they can't do it twice, but they could have a bad race and still move on.
Yeah. And I think for me, this first round with Darlington is really tough. And all of these tracks that are in the playoffs have their tough shots with them. I think Darlington and Bristol in this first round are, for the guys who have been really consistent, that's where they're going to get eaten up, because both of those tracks, with Bristol being a super long night race at a short track and Darlington being probably the hardest track we race on, I think this first round getting through it is going to be really challenging. But it's that second round for me that it has that wild card aspect with mainly Talladega and the Roval. Two tracks that are pretty much impossible to predict. Talladega being anybody can really win that race, and then the Roval just being a survive fest. You just got to survive that race. Even the road course ringers will struggle at that track. It's just the mix of the high banking oval and the infield road course together. It just makes a really challenging race for the drivers. So this first round, it's difficult with Darlington and Bristol, and Kansas will have its side to it, but Kansas has been a race that we've seen almost every team even up at. But for me, it's that second round with the Roval and Talladega that's going to get some guys like possibly Hamlin or Truex or William Byron, who are sitting really good right now. But if they don't finish those two races, they could be out of it.
Yeah, and so that leads us to our next thing. Who are your first four out in this first round? So we've got Kansas, Darlington, and Bristol in the round of 16, and we'll cut 4 drivers from that to get us to 12. So looking at the current standings, the 4 drivers that are currently below are McDowell, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kevin Harvick, and Bubba Wallace. Those are the 4 drivers with the least amount of points, but they are only -1,
tight.
-3, -4, and -8. So they're all within 8 points of one another.
Mm-hmm. I think there's 2 that are, for me, kind of easy to pick. Stenhouse having a really good year. Just kind of mid-regular season, he kind of fell off a little bit. I just can't see him putting together 3 good races at these 3 tracks that we're going to. And Michael McDowell. I think Michael McDowell winning at Watkins Glen, really good. He's been pretty consistent all year round. But again, the 3 tracks we're going to, I just can't see that team beating out the other guys we have. The other 2 guys who are below the cutoff line, though, I find it hard for me to put them in or put them out. I think both those drivers, Kevin Harvick and Bubba Wallace, I think they're going to get in and advance into the round of 12. The Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano, that's where I'm kind of sitting. I like both of those drivers, but I could see one of those guys getting out. And for me, it's Joey Logano. We see it every couple years. He'll go on and win a championship and then kind of be cold. And the tracks we're going to, he could be really good at. But I just haven't seen it from that group. They haven't put together good races since Atlanta. And I think he's going to be knocked out. And then my final guy is going to be Brad Keselowski. I think Brad's been really good. I just think Ryan Blaney and Tyler Reddick will outrace him. And with these next couple races, I think Tyler Reddick this round suits his driving style really well. Ryan Blaney, I could just see him putting together a couple good races. Brad, he's been really good. I just don't see it.
Keselowski one shocked me. I mean, I had a verbal, like a actual audible reaction. I don't agree with that one. I think that they've been really good. I think they've both been way too consistent to have one of those RFK cars go out this early. But I think both of the Penske cars have not been consistent enough. I'm going to pick Logano and Blaney both to go out in this first round. they can't put a full race together, it doesn't seem like. And I know Logano's pretty good at Darlington, but I actually think Ross Chastain will end up winning that race. I think he's been very good there in the past. I think he's due. Trackhouse needs a little bit of a shot in the arm, and I think that's their best shot. Looking at Kansas, I don't think Bubba Wallace will win, but he's been very consistent here these last, handful of races, and he's done exactly what he needs to do to get into the round of 16, and I think he could continue that trend in these first 3 races. I know he's not very good at Bristol, but or Darlington, but I think he has a pretty good shot at Kansas. If he can win that race and win his way into the round of 12, I think he'll be sitting pretty. So I'm gonna say Reddick is the one that falls out. They've been kind of inconsistent, even though I know the next round would be very good for Tyler Reddick. I just don't think that he's been consistent enough here as of late. I mean, he didn't really show up at Indianapolis Road Course, wasn't really a factor at Watkins Glen. Really, they were running okay. Him and Ty Gibbs both were in Daytona, and then they got kind of mixed up in some stuff. But he's just really been a non-factor here for the past month or so.
Yeah,
I think that he's only setting +2 above the cut line. All it takes is just one of these guys below the cut line to have a really good day, and then all of a sudden he's in the the bottom. Looking up. So I think he falls out. So that's Logano, Reddick, and Blaney. And then I think you're right. Stenhouse has only scored 5 playoff points all year, and that was because he won the Daytona 500. He's been really good in the past and been kind of consistent, and he's shown glimmers of that this year, but it just hasn't materialized for him. So those are my first 4 out. Logano, Reddick, Stenhouse, and Blaney. And I think if Michael McDowell can weather this storm and get to the second round, it could get spicy. Could get really spicy. Like, he could win 2 of those races, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my goodness, this 34 team's actually got a chance. And so that, to me, I think that would be the best story. And I think Bubba making it to the next round would be a big deal as well. Hey, thanks for checking out our latest video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and even ring the bell so you don't miss out on future videos from GoPRN Live.